Hello everyone. In this video lesson, actually I am going to give you the concept of this electromagnetic waves and displacement current. I think all of you know by Oersted experiment that when a current is passed through a conductor, then a magnetic field is produced in its nearby region, and that can be shown by the deflection of the magnetic needle placed near it. So it was shown by the Oersted. And then finally the mathematical expressions for magnetic field produced by a current carrying conductor was obtained by Biot-Savart law applications. But there is one thing, whenever there is a current, there is a magnetic field, and there is no doubt about it. And after this, the Ampere circular law was given by Ampere, which says that integral over a closed loop B dot dl is mu naught times the current enclosed. So if we have a current carrying conductor and it is enclosed by a loop, then for a small element dl, the magnetic field dot dl is mu naught times the current enclosed. This is Ampere circular law. But actually the contradiction comes when Maxwell performed an experiment. What Maxwell did, he took, this is called Maxwell's experiment. The credit for electromagnetic wave generation is given to Maxwell. So Maxwell first proved that an oscillating charge or an accelerating charge can produce an electromagnetic waves. In this wave, electric field and magnetic field both are simultaneously present. The source of this electromagnetic waves was the oscillating charge or an accelerating charge. Okay. Now come to the Maxwell's experiment once again, that what actually surprises Maxwell when he wanted to apply Ampere circular law for this particular experiment. He took a capacitor, parallel plate capacitor, the two plates, and the two plates are connected by a source of potential difference, that is cell, and when the key was made on, a current flows through this, and this current, that is flow of charge, gradually charging the plate of capacitor. So the charge gradually accumulated over this plate, and ultimately plus q charge is here, minus q charge is here, and there is a current. Okay, there is no doubt that there is a current, and the charge on the plate is gradually increasing because of the charging of the capacitor. Now what Maxwell did, he imagined a loop here L1 and put a magnetic needle here. For the verification of this Oersted experiment, this magnetic needle was deflected, and that is very simple, because of this current flowing through this conductor, there is a deflection of the magnetic needle, and that was no surprise for him. Okay, there is a current, there is a magnetic field, and magnetic field deflects the magnetic needle. But actual surprise comes when he places the needle between the two plates, when there is no conductor, and he imagined a loop without any conductor, but here comes the surprise. That magnetic needle shows deflection. And the deflection in the magnetic needle is actually the proof of presence of magnetic field. Right? There is no conductor, there is no current. That how this magnetic field comes? Because the deflection in the magnetic needle is a proof, 100% proof of the presence of magnetic field. So this is loop 2. So actually loop 2, study of this loop 2 gives rise to the concept of displacement current. Then Maxwell has given the explanation when the charge gradually accumulates on this plate, an electric field is also established between the plates. So gradually the charge is increasing, the electric field between the two plates is also increasing. So there is a change in the electric field. And because of that change in the electric field, he said there is a current that is not conduction current, that is not a current flows through a conductor, but that is because of the displacement of the charge, we can say. So this current arises due to changing electric field. He has given the name as displacement current. So what actually is a displacement current? Displacement current is the current due to changing electric field between the two plates. And that actually, and he has given it as ID. This is conduction current IC and this is displacement current ID. So IC is conduction current and ID is displacement current. Then he explained the electric field which is changing in nature produces a current known as displacement current, and that displacement current produces a magnetic field as suggested by Ørsted. So a magnetic field is produced by the displacement current also, and that magnetic field is responsible for the deflection of the magnetic needle placed between the two plates. Okay, so there is a magnetic field also present, and that magnetic field again is changing. So that changing magnetic field produces an electric flux. Changing magnetic field also induces an EMF, that is electric field is produced. So electric field, magnetic field, magnetic field, both are simultaneously present in the scenario. So this electric field and magnetic field both are changing in nature, and that actually produces an electromagnetic waves. So an electromagnetic waves is produced by the oscillating charge originating. That oscillating charge produces an electric field, that changing electric field produces a magnetic field. So both are oscillating in nature, and that oscillating electric field and oscillating magnetic field is the electromagnetic waves. So this is the importance of Maxwell's experiment, and that actually that concept of displacement current modified the Ampere circuitry law. The Ampere circuitry law is now modified by the Maxwell, and he has given the concept of displacement current and modified the Ampere circuitry law like this. So this is integration of this B dot dl is mu naught times the current. I said no, the current is the conduction current and the displacement current. So this is the modified form of Ampere circuitry law. This is modified form of Ampere circuitry law. Circuitry law, or called as Ampere-Maxwell law. So this is the modified form. Now the next aim is to know the expression for this displacement. So there is now that concept is very much clear, that a displacement current is there between the two plates, and that displacement current is responsible for the magnetic field between the two plates, where there is no physical conductor is there. The two plates are, there is empty space between the two. But even in the empty space, there is a concept of current comes, that Maxwell's contribution to this. Okay, now this displacement current is actually depending upon the changing electric field. Now we have to find the expression for this idea. Very simple to understand. Now for this capacitor, now we say if sigma is surface charge density, A is area of plates of capacitor, and Q is charge on the plates. Now the sigma can be written as charge per unit area. This is equation number 1. So surface charge density means charge per unit area, and that is Q upon E. Okay. Now come to this. After this, come to that Gauss's application. So Gauss's theorem and its application, we have an expression for electric field because of a charged sheet or plate, and that is given by sigma by epsilon naught. So this E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. Now the value of sigma can be substituted, then this is Q by A upon epsilon naught, or we can write it as Q by epsilon naught A. This is equation 2. Now we have to go for the changing electric field. Okay. Now if charge on the plate of capacitor changes by dq, right, in time dt, then the expression, this expression number 2, that is E is equal to Q upon epsilon naught A, can be written as dE by dt, that is change in the electric field with respect to time, is dQ by dt into 1 upon epsilon naught A. Now this dQ by dt, we know that current is this dQ by dt, and here this current is displacement current. So this is displacement current, so we can write dE by dt as displacement current ID into 1 upon epsilon naught A, or ID can be written as epsilon naught A dt by dt. Now the next step we can say epsilon naught d by dt of EA. What is this EA? The concept of flux phi. Electric flux is phi E, we can say it is EA. Electric field multiplied by area gives the flux. So we can write this as epsilon naught d by dt of phi E. So this is ID. So the expression for ID is epsilon naught d by dt of phi E. So this change in electric flux because of changing electric field gives rise to the displacement current. So this is the expression for displacement current, And finally, the modified form of Ampere-Maxwell law is integral B dot dl is mu naught times IC plus ID. Now it can be written as mu naught IC plus mu naught ID, and in place of ID we can write epsilon naught d phi E upon dt. Now this expression is valid everywhere. Where the only displacement current is present, this will be 0 and we can write this expression. And where there is no displacement current, this term will be 0 and we have got the previous form of Ampere circuitry law. So in this way, Maxwell has modified the Ampere circuitry law for the concept of electromagnetic waves. Okay, now the most important point here is to remember always, electromagnetic waves are produced by accelerating charge. So these 2 points we should remember always. EM waves are produced by accelerating charge or oscillating charge. Because oscillating charge, for oscillation we have an acceleration always, and that is always towards the mean position of the oscillation. Okay, so oscillating charge or accelerating charge actually is the origin for electromagnetic waves. Now come to the next part. After knowing this, that we have electromagnetic waves and that the concept of displacement current, now we should discuss about the transverse nature. Transverse nature of EM waves. So in class 9th and in class 11, we have already studied about the longitudinal waves and transverse waves. So in longitudinal waves, in which the vibration of particles of the medium is along the direction of propagation of the wave, then such wave is called longitudinal. And transverse, in which the vibration of the particles of the medium is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave. So the vibration is perpendicular to the direction of propagation. So here the oscillation or the vibration of electric and magnetic field both are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of electromagnetic waves. That actually is the transverse nature. What actually is happening? Suppose this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis and this is your z-axis. Suppose we have a charge oscillating along y-axis. Charge is oscillating along y-axis. Okay, this actually is the origin. So we have a charge oscillating along y-axis. Now you see, when charge moves, a current comes, because the rate of flow of charge is current. So this moving charge is producing a current, and that current produces an electric field. So there is an electric field because of this oscillation of the charge along this y-axis. And what is the nature of that electric field? It is actually the frequency of oscillation of charge and the frequency of electric field produced, both are same. And as this moves along y-axis, the electric field also oscillating along y-axis. So I am just showing that oscillating nature of electric field because of this. So this is the electric field. So this is the peak value of electric field, that is E naught, and the nature of electric field produced is E naught sine omega t, where omega is angular frequency of the charge. Okay, that is angular frequency of the electric field also. E naught is the peak value of electric field, and the nature of this electric field is time dependent, and that varies with time. Okay. Then, as we know, according to that Oersted experiment, whenever there is a current, there is a magnetic field. So a magnetic field is also associated with this moving charge. So moving charge is a source of both electric field as well as magnetic field. But a static charge? What about static charge? A static charge is the only source of electric field. So when a charge is static, only electric field is present. But at the same time, a moving charge produces electric field as well as magnetic field. And here the moving charge is not moving with uniform velocity, it is accelerating or changing its velocity. For an oscillation, it moves upward and its velocity gradually decreases and comes to rest. Then again its velocity increases, crosses the mean position, then comes to rest, then comes to the maximum velocity, then rest, then maximum velocity, then rest, and so on. So at every instant of time, the charge is oscillating about a mean position and its velocity is not a constant. Okay. So this is an accelerated motion. So this accelerating charge produces an electric field, and as well as that produces a magnetic field according to the Oersted experiment. Okay. So that magnetic field. Now think of this right hand thumb rule. The right hand thumb rule says the magnetic field produced by the current is along this plane. So if the vibration is like this, magnetic field will be along this plane. So magnetic field produced, which is also oscillating in nature, is denoted by this. And this is the peak value of magnetic field, B naught. So the magnetic field is B is equal to B naught sine omega t. And this actually is along x-axis, and the waves produced by this oscillating electric and magnetic field moves along x-axis. So we can say finally the electric and magnetic field vibrates along YZ plane when the direction of propagation of electromagnetic waves is along x-axis. So this is your YZ plane, we can say. So YZ plane in which both electric and magnetic field are present, and the direction of propagation of wave is along x-axis. So the vibration is perpendicular, either we take the vibration of electric field or we take the vibration of magnetic field, both are perpendicular to x-axis. That is why we say this is a transverse wave. So electromagnetic waves is a transverse wave in which both electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of EM. So since this axis is direction of propagation. Right? So if we want to produce a wave moving along z axis, then we have to restrict the vibration along xy plane. Simply in any direction we can produce an electromagnetic waves by simply an oscillating charge. I think this is very clear to all of you. So this explains the transverse nature of electromagnetic waves. And in this way we can have a picture of this. So here this is electric field E naught, this is magnetic field B naught. So both are perpendicular and these two are also perpendicular to axis. So this is transverse nature of electromagnetic waves. I think the things are very clear to all of you. Now after this transverse nature, we have to go for the properties. Now, properties of electromagnetic waves. We have studied so many things and we get many properties also, right? So, the very first is, this is properties. Of EM waves. Very first, EM waves are produced by accelerating or oscillating charge. Number two, EM waves are transverse in nature. Number three, in EM waves, oscillating charge, oscillating electric field and oscillating magnetic field all are in the same phase. I think this is easy to understand. When the electric field reaches its maximum, the magnetic field also reaches its maximum. When electric field reaches its zero, the magnetic field also reaches its zero. When electric field reaches negative maximum, the magnetic field also reaches its negative maximum. So if this is positive, then this is negative. So both are in the same phase always. So the phase of the two are always same. And that phase is actually the phase of the oscillating charge. When this oscillating charge reaches its peak, we get all peaks. When it is at the zero, we get all the zero. When it is at negative peak, we get all negative peaks. So this is the propagation. So in electromagnetic waves, oscillating charge, oscillating electric field, oscillating magnetic field, all are in the same phase. Now the fourth. The speed of EM waves in free space or vacuum. The speed of electromagnetic waves in free space or vacuum is given by C is equal to 1 by under root mu naught epsilon naught, where mu naught is permeability of vacuum and epsilon naught is permittivity of vacuum. So this C is 1 by mu naught epsilon naught. And we know the value also is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Now come to number 5. The speed of EM wave in a medium, it is V. V is 1 by mu epsilon. So mu is permittivity of medium, permeability of medium, and epsilon is permittivity of the medium. Now we know mu is mu naught mu r, epsilon is epsilon naught epsilon r. Now substitute the value. This is 1 by under root mu naught mu r, epsilon naught epsilon r, and we can write it as under root mu naught epsilon naught under root mu r epsilon r, and 1 by mu naught epsilon naught can be c. It is mu r epsilon, and this is v. So this is the next expression where mu r is relative permeability and epsilon r is relative permittivity. Now if we write c upon v, c upon v is under root mu r epsilon r, and c upon v is refractive index n. It is epsilon mu r epsilon under root. So we have got many relations. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So the refractive index of the medium is given by mu r epsilon r under root, and velocity in any medium is given by c upon under root mu r epsilon. Now the next property is the speed of electromagnetic wave is also given as c is equal to E upon B or E naught upon B naught or E RMS upon B RMS. So this also can be used to solve numericals. Now average energy density. So if we consider only electric field, then average is 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square. And if we consider only magnetic field, then this average is 1 by 2 B square upon mu naught. This is because of electric field. This is because of magnetic field. And we want to take the contribution of both. Then this U average is sum of the two divided by 2. So this is 1 by 2 times this 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square plus 1 by 2 B square by mu naught. So this is 1 by 4 epsilon naught E square plus 1 by 4 B square by mu naught. This is the average energy density. So these are some important properties of electromagnetic waves. Now we have to know the electromagnetic spectrum. Then how many types of electromagnetic waves are there? Now that is our next aim, and that is electromagnetic spectrum. So there are many types of electromagnetic waves. Gamma radiation is electromagnetic waves, X-ray is electromagnetic waves, ultraviolet radiation is electromagnetic waves, your visible light is electromagnetic waves, infrared radiation is electromagnetic waves, then microwaves are electromagnetic waves, radio waves are electromagnetic waves. So these are electromagnetic waves we have to write the names of all such. So I am writing it. This is called spectrum. Spectrum of electromagnetic waves. The very first is gamma. Then after gamma ray we have X-rays. And after X-rays we can say ultraviolet rays. Then visible, that is VIBGYOR. So this visible light is that visible ray which spreads between violet to red. Number 5 is infrared rays. Then number 6 is microwaves. Number 7 is radio waves. Radio waves includes ultra high frequency, very high frequency and high frequency. So altogether we have 7 categories of electromagnetic waves: gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, visible light, infrared rays, microwaves, radio waves, and we have to write the frequency range of all. Frequency range. I am writing here frequency range only. If you want to know, you can see in any reference book or textbook the wavelength range also. So gamma rays actually spreads between, this is gamma rays, then X-rays, then UV, then visible, then infrared, then microwaves, then radio waves. Now the frequency range of gamma rays is 3 into 10 to the power 21 Hertz to 3 into 10 to the power 18 Hertz. Then X-rays 3 into 10 to the power 18 Hertz to 3 into 10 to the power 16 Hertz. Then UV rays 3 into 10 to the power 16 Hertz to 7 into 10 to the power 14 Hertz. Then visible light is 7 into 10 to the power 14 Hertz to 4 into 10 to the power 14 Hertz. Then infrared radiation 4 into 10 to the power 14 Hertz to 3 into 10 to the power 11 Hertz. Then microwaves 3 into 10 to the power 11 Hertz to 10 to the power 10 Hertz. Then radio waves 10 to the power 10 Hertz to 3 into 10 to the power 4 Hertz. So these are the frequency range of electromagnetic waves. And similarly we can have the wavelength range also. For that you can consult any book, then you can get the wavelength range also for this spectrum. We have to remember all. And these different kinds of electromagnetic waves have different uses. And many questions are asked in the board examination. So far as uses of this electromagnetic, different types of electromagnetic waves are concerned. So I am just giving you some idea about the uses of different types of electromagnetic waves. Now come to the very first, gamma rays. Uses. Gamma. So gamma rays are actually used in medical science as a gamma ray knife, and a precise, very precise operation or surgery can be done by this gamma rays. So this is used to remove tumors. So tumors can be removed by using a gamma ray knife. So gamma ray is used in medical treatment and surgery. Medical treatment and surgery. So gamma rays are also used for cancer treatment. So gamma rays actually is used in precise surgery, we can see. Okay. Now come to the X-rays. X-rays is also very popular for you all. X-rays. Whenever you have a fracture in the bones and then you are consulting a doctor, then doctor advise you to go for an X-ray. Then you are going for that X-ray, and after X-ray we can see the fractures made in the bones. So X-ray can be used to find the fractures in the bones, and in the same way we can detect flaws in big structures. Suppose we have made a bridge, metallic bridge, and we want to know the flaws or the cracks inside, which is not seen from outside. But if a crack is inside, then that bridge may be very weak. So to see that internal flaws in a steel structure or iron structure, this X-ray is used. This X-ray is also used in a study of crystal. So crystal structures and bones fracture can be detected by X-rays. So X-rays can be used to detect fracture in bones, to detect flaws in big structures, to study crystal. Okay? So for crystal analysis also we use X-ray. Now the next is UV rays. Ultraviolet rays. No doubt ultraviolet rays are very harmful to us. So the sun contains this ultraviolet radiation, and for that we have a protective ozone layer. So ozone layer, ultraviolet rays are maximum absorbed by the ozone layer, and we are safe from this ultraviolet radiation. Even then, a small part of ultraviolet radiation comes to, and when our skin is exposed to this ultraviolet radiation, that may causes the skin burns, sunburns, we can say, skin burns, or sometimes skin cancer. So there is an ozone hole that we already studied in your small classes, that depletion of ozone layer and others. Okay, but the same ultraviolet rays we are deliberately producing here, and we are using this for some good purpose. So ultraviolet radiation can be used for water purification. In your RO water plant, there is a section of ultraviolet. So the water is crossed through that ultraviolet radiation, which kills the bacteria. So UV rays is used for purification of water. Okay, now if you want to check some forged documents, some that wrong notes, currency. So to check whether the currency is right or wrong, it is real or unreal, we use ultraviolet rays. So ultraviolet rays is used to detect forged documents, fingerprints, ठीक है, by forensic persons. So forensic persons are using this ultraviolet radiation to see the fingerprints left behind after any criminal case or any that detection we are using. Okay, now this ultraviolet radiation is over. Now come to the visible light. Visible light, most useful. Without visible light we are unable to see the things. It is actually the visible light, we say light. So light is a form of energy which gives us sensation of sight. हम देख पाते हैं. Because of that visible light only we are able to see the things. The light strikes the surface, reflects and comes to our eye, and we are able to see the things. So this visible light gives you the sensation of sight as well as the sensation of colors. So because of these 7 colors we can produce many colors. Because in these 7 we have primary colors, we have secondary colors, and we can tertiary colors. So all possible colors can be made by this RBG only, red, blue and green. Okay, so the sensation of color, the beauty of nature is seen by this visible light only. So this is the maximum use of this. Now come to the infrared radiation, IR. IR, infrared, is having the heating effect. So the heating effect produced by the sun, it is because of the presence of this infrared radiation. So infrared means heating effect. So can be used for drying of fruits. Suppose we have grapes, we want to make it that raisin kismish, then that infrared radiation can be used. So for this purpose we are using infrared radiation. Okay, now the most modern use of infrared is night vision camera. So night vision camera or binoculars So night vision camera, suppose we want to take some pictures in the night. Now wildlife photographers are using. They wanted to observe the movement of some animals even in the night dark. If you put light, the movement will be restricted. So they are using this night vision camera and getting the thermal sensation, and that thermal sensation can be now changed into the image. So that night vision camera, and that night vision camera is also very useful for spying purpose, and binoculars. We can see the far distant objects by using this binoculars, night vision binoculars, usually used by military persons, so they can have a watch to our borders even in the night. Without giving much light, we can see the movement of the enemies. So this binoculars, infrared binoculars are also very useful. So infrared cameras are there. So photography can be possible even for hazy days, foggy days. So when very fog is there, we want to take pictures, then these infrared cameras can be used. So taking pictures, in fog, haze, mist. So this is the use of infrared radiation. Now come to microwaves. Microwaves. Microwaves are mainly used in mobile telephony. So mobile telephones are very common nowadays. So that the communication towers, big towers are placed at different places. They are using this microwaves for our mobile telephony. Microwaves are also used in microwave ovens. Microwave ovens are very common nowadays. Every household has a microwave oven for cooking purpose. So in that microwave oven we are producing microwaves, and that microwave is used for cooking purpose. So microwaves are actually used in telecommunication, . mobile telephony, and microwaves. Microwave ovens. And the last one is radio waves. So radio waves ranging between 10 to the power 10 Hz to 3 to the power 4 Hz is actually used in radar and telecommunication also. So used in radar. And radio communication. Okay? The full form of radar, you know, this is, what is the full form of radar? Radio detection and ranging. So in radar we use radio waves, and radar is very common. We are using in this what we say, that aviation, in the movement of flights and others. This radar is used to detect the and from that control room we can just give a control to the flights for the landing and that flying over. Okay, so these are some common uses of electromagnetic waves. Hope you all have got all the concepts of electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves has a weightage of 3 marks. In the board examination you will get 3 marks. See, so if you remember these things, what you have studied today, then you are able to score 100% marks of electromagnetic waves. So these are common things. We have to remember the properties, we have to remember the uses of this, we have to know the concept of transverse nature of electromagnetic waves, and we have to know the concept of displacement current. Only these. If you remember all these things, you can get full marks in that one. And my advice to all of you is to practice last 5 to 7 years questions from this topic, and just practice them only. So if you are considering that 5 to 7 or to 10 years questions, we can say you are able to score 100% marks in this topic. Right? So I think this video will be helpful to you. Hope so. So thank you very much. And thanks once again for watching my video. Thank you very much.